All right, let's go. All right, welcome everyone to another exciting webinar with XMD. I am your host, Michael Dunham, and I have Spicer McLeroy with me here today. Why are you here? I know why you're here. Spicer is going to show you some badass sculpting techniques and do some live sculpting critiques. So I won't waste any more of your time. Let's get this thing started. Now I'm going to turn it over to your champion, Spicer McLeroy.
Welcome everybody to the XMD Academy. Yeah, that's right. Production value. You don't get echoes on any other webinar, do you? I don't think so. All right. So I want to thank everyone for being here. My name's Spicer, 13-year veteran, collectibles, video games, TV, movie, creating characters for all that type of stuff. Yeah, okay. But yeah, today we're going to be going over some critiques, some artwork. We're going to be sculpting over things, and then we're going to be talking about some other bits. If you're here from the XMD scholarship, give me a hashtag XMD in the chat right now. Right now. All right. If you are here for the XMD scholarship, we are going to announce the winner of that scholarship this Saturday at shotgunscream.com. I'm going to be streaming every Saturday. I stream free anatomy tutorials, so you should definitely go there, and you can brush up on your anatomy every Saturday. Okay, but we're going to be announcing that. And if you did participate, all right, so like when we announce the winner, if you're not the winner, you should still stick around because Mike and I have been putting some good stuff together for you. And we're very excited, and we're definitely giving back to the community. We're not going to leave you hanging. So if you want to get in, hey, Karen, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. So if you haven't participated yet, go to the xmdacademy.com site, go to XMD Scholarship, make sure that your requirements and quests are completed, and you will be entered in for a free 6-week character workshop one-on-one with me. All right. So let's get into it. Josh, what's going on? Thank you for being here. Let me share my screen. We are going to start off with some Zbrush from some, this is from Mark Carroll, I believe. This is his Fireman. So we are going to start with this one, and we're going to see what we can do, see if we can make it look sexy right in front of your eyes. Okay. So first thing I would suggest is to not use this material. It creates all these cavities, and it makes it look really, really, really rough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to material. I'm going to go to flat, and then I'm going to use fill, which is in under color. Let's see, where is that? See, plugin. Where is that thing? Subtool master, and it's under fill right here. So I'm just going to go fill, and I'm just going to use the material. I'm not going to use the color. I'm going to press OK. And what that's going to do is it's going to reset all the material information. So now when I switch to this, everything's going to switch to that color. Okay. So let's kind of set this up first so we can kind of get this going. Let me see. I don't know why it's taking long to get towards the center, but all right. Here we go. And what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to get this face as symmetrical as I can, just so that we can work on it. All right. Well, actually, this is where it should be. Okay. So somewhere around there, and then we're going to rotate it right here. And I'm just going to worry about the face right now. So I'm just going to get rid of this right here. All this stuff can be created with super low topology. That's the reason that everything's kind of chugging along. Actually, I think it would be easier if we just grab a piece of him and then Control Shift A, and that'll bring everything together that has to deal with his face. And then we're just going to split hidden right now. Let's see, split hidden, where is that split? Split hidden. All right. So we're just going to talk about this face. We're going to block out this face really quickly, and then we are going to take it from there. Okay. If anyone has any questions or anybody wants clarification, definitely put it down in the chat, and we will get to it. Can everybody see my screen? Everybody can see this?
All right. Yeah, you're good.
All right, cool. All right, so there's a lot of geometry going on, so it's taking a little while to split everything. But what I would say, Mark, is that I would separate these things into subtools so they're not all in one subtool. There's really no reason to have separate. If I have a hat and then I have a face and then I have eyes, then all of those things are going to be separate so that I have more control and I don't have to subdivide things so much. But yeah, let's there we go. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna solo this out. We're gonna turn off the color information on this, and then we're just gonna take a look at it and just go through it this way, okay? I'm gonna actually kick this Dynamesh down to 32 because we don't really need all this detail. And there we go. Okay, let's go up to 64, just so we can retain some of it. No. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so let's talk about this overall. Let's look at this. So what I'm assuming is that this is your jaw right here. This is your nose. This is your forehead. And then this is going to be your hair and your skull. So what we need to do is we need to kind of represent that in its base form first, right? So what I'm going to do is kind of smooth all this stuff out. And what I want to do is kind of block. Well, let me mirror and weld this first. Mirror and weld. Oops, it's off symmetry. Let's go home. Let's return this. Ready? I'm gonna, oops. I'm gonna put a pin in this. And there we go. All right, now I'm gonna take off that pin. Okay, so now we're gonna mirror and weld. Boom. Okay. So we're gonna activate symmetry on our brush by pressing X. And we're gonna smooth this out, bring this in. And we want to get the skull locked in first. All right, because if we don't have this set up, then everything else is kind of based off of this. And if you've ever seen Aliens, the movie, that's what your skull should look like, right? Not so far as a tip, but, you know, a little bit more blunt at the tip, but it should look kind of like an egg, right? And then from here, we need to make sure that this, this cranium is coming out. Boom, here's our widest point, and now it's coming down here. Okay, so boom, oops, something like that. Okay, so now we've got a little bit more of a believable cranium. The next thing we need to do is we need to make sure that the back third is the highest point of this. So it should go boom, and then it should come back down, okay? Next, what we need to do is make sure that this brow is a little bit more subtle because it looks very testosterone driven because the brow is so pronounced, which is a little bit more regulated to like people like the Great Khali or someone like that. Okay. Next thing is that your nostrils are going over your alar cartilage here. So what we need to do is we need to kind of smooth this down and also smooth all this texture that we have on the face because we don't really have that whenever we're looking at someone. We don't have this much texture on it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to separate this brow. I'm going to kind of flatten the top of the bridge of the nose. And then I'm going to give a little bit more space here. And I'm going to make sure that the alar cartilage or the button of your nose right here is more pronounced than the nostrils themselves in terms of what's overlapping what. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Damien standard, and I'm going to kind of bring this together a little bit more. I'm going to dig around the nostril here, and we're probably just going to be able to block things out because we only have an hour today, and we've got about 7 pieces to go through. Okay. So next thing we need to do is we need to kind of get a chin going. So what I'm going to do is kind of pull this out. Generally for, 80% of the population, your jaw is roughly going to be pretty average. And so that's what we're going to do here. Like that. And what we're looking for, you can see how everything's coming to a point here. What we need to do is we need to carry this mandible over, right? So this part of your jaw right here, this extremely sharp part of my face right here, this whole mandible is just a straight line. There shouldn't be any curves or dips or anything going on in there, right? So we should have a straight line going to the mental eminence right here, or your chin. And then we need to bring this zygomatic. So this is right here, which allows us to pull our the corners of our mouth back. There's this zygomatic major that goes down to the the nodes of your mouth on each side that allow you to articulate that. So we need to carry that down to the corners of the mouth here, right? Next thing, let's go through here. And I'm trying to go super fast. So if I miss something or say something, please forgive me. All right. So now what we need to do is we need to kind of bring everything together in terms of proportion. So let me get this. Let me get, so the bottom of your nose is going to be the bottom of your zygomatic. So the problem with this is that your zygomatic's all the way up here. So we need to bring this down so it's at level right here with the bottom of the nose, right? So it goes straight across, okay? Next thing, I'm not gonna be able to sculpt in eyes. So we're just going to, well, not that I can't, but in the allotted time that we have, I can sculpt eyes, trust me. We're gonna get the temporal arch here. Okay, we are going to get the bottom of the orbit is going to be the top of our malar, right? Or top of our zygomatic. So if you just feel on the side of your face right here, there's going to be this bone that comes straight out from your ear. And if you feel the top of it, it goes straight to the bottom of our orbit right here. Okay, so if you just draw that line. So that's something you can count on 100% of the time, right? So let's say this is an ear hole. Straight out from the ear hole is going to be the top of the zygomatic 100% of the time, unless you're doing some creature or someone who's deformed or something like that. But generally, normal people will have that. Then you're going to have your nasal labial fold, which needs to come from the corner of the mouth, or corner of the eye, I'm sorry, and then come down and go around right here. So if we wanted to age this guy up, what we would do is we would just add a bunch right here at the bottom, following the nasal labial fold, and now he looks older, right? So we can do that at any time. And a lot of people are doing that accidentally. They're wondering why their character's looking old or any of that stuff. And it's because right here, if you have any loop or any bump here in the mandible or the jawline, then it's going to look older. So look, just getting rid of that. Look how much younger he looks now, right? Boom, older, younger. It's literally that subtle of a bump that matters. So if your character is looking a little bit too old, then check that that one bit right there, the jowl, okay, the mandibular jowling. Mandible, jowling, mandibular jowling, okay? Right here, boom, boom, boom. Bring this around. We're going to get the barrel of the mouth going. What are we doing on time?
You're at 15 minutes now.
Okay.
Also, I sent you a message.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, we got a new one.
I was just showing you some reference for the one you're working on now.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Let's see. I got you. Oh, so you're going for that. Okay, yeah. Well, the thing is, even if you are doing that type of style, the fundamentals of constructing a face in 3D will apply even more so, because what you're doing is you're accentuating and leaving out information to produce this type of style. Because I guarantee you, this person knows everything about the face, knows way more than just looking at a face and doing that, because getting that type of caricature and getting it consistent, you need to have a pretty good understanding of what's going on with the face. We spend like 2-3 weeks just on the face to ensure that you really are, and those are just modules. What we have like 100 plus videos, a lot of them do with anatomy, and yeah, we just take care of all this for you, so you're no longer worrying about that, right? So but yeah, so here but yeah, I do understand what you're saying. And if you want to keep the stylized look, it's like if you want to draw cartoons extremely effectively, then the best thing to do is to learn how to draw things in real life, because stylized is just leaving information out. That's all you're doing. So if you know all the information, then you know what to leave out and you know what to keep there to make sure that the face looks appealing. So let's go here and right here. And then I think we kind of tamed this down a bit. I think we successfully did that. Let's get these eyes. Boom. Okay. So something I think a little bit more like that would be a nice block out to start with. Let's take a look at what we have, and then this might take a while, but we'll see. And what you came in with, there we go. Right. So even though that you're trying to get that style and everything, there's just way too much texture going on. And if you just simplify it down and smooth a lot of things and really reinforce basic bony landmarks and making sure that, your nostrils isn't overtaking your alar cartilage and the bridge of your nose, I think you'll be able to bring this together a little bit more. But yeah, thank you for submitting your work, Mark. I really appreciate it. Alrighty, we're going to this Grandpire doc. Alrighty, so yeah, this looks really, really good. The character of it is really good overall. The texturing's really good. The overall silhouette's really good. I would probably, let's see, hopefully this is in symmetry. I would probably reinforce this jawline a bit, and then, like we said, on each side of this jowling is a hard edge of a jaw. And so jowling here, but then we've got the hard edge of the mandible there. We've got the hard edge right here. And then it's just going to bring a little bit more form and structure to it. Because as wonderful as this piece is, you don't want bones being all wavy, right? You don't want to lose form there. And I would look at what's the guy that did the Alfred for Bateman, or not Bateman? What's his name? Christian Bale. Who was the one? James, was it Caine? What's his name?
Yeah.
Michael Caine. Yeah, Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at him. His jowling's really, really nice. That or Robert Redford. He's really, really good too. So you would definitely want to check those out. Okay. Next, a little bit more on the temporal arch, because you can see it's just going straight back, right? So what I would like to see is a little bit more of the temporal arch being carried over, because you have it over here, but then you stop, right? See how it just becomes one into here. So at the corner, where the corner of your eyebrow takes that hit, right, and goes off, that's where the temporal arch is, right? And if you just have it right there, and you can dig this around a little bit more, right there, it's going to give it a little bit more solidity to it and a little bit more believability. And then your frontal bone here, we can still have that there, because I know you like that form right there. I do too. All right, ears obviously need to be brought up to the same level. I know ears suck to sculpt on, but you should definitely do that. I would say to really bring this together, we need to put in this curve here and have it go in there. And then we need to have this go all the way around. Right, so this right here, we can bring this over. I'm using a standard brush. This needs to go over into the corner right here. It needs to come around. That needs to go in. That needs to go in. So we have a helix, anti-helix, trager or tragus, anti-tragus, and then the concha. So right, so all this in here is considered the concha. This is your helix right here, this little Y going down in here. And then your anti-helix, which is this edge for your ear. Okay. And this needs to come around. This needs to go a little bit more in. And bring that. So we should have this little Y shape going down in here. And a little bit more for the ear hole. And then you can kind of bring this over as well. And then now you're giving yourself enough space to kind of complete this ear. And it's going to look a little jagged. But yeah, just a little bit of that does help. And then you have all this wonderful shape language, but then when it comes to the ear, you kind of stopped with that interesting shape language. And I know ears suck. I know they suck. Trust me, I know they suck. Especially to retopologize them, they really, really suck. So bad, I just pay other people to do it. But yeah, we need to, at least whenever we're sculpting it, we need to make sure it has some really nice character, especially with all this other great characterization going on. You don't want to scrimp on the ears at all. Let's see. This, I'm not sure if this is bone or skin here. If it is bone, then we need to really have the mastoid process here. So if you feel behind your ear, you're going to feel this little bone right behind your ear. And that's kind of like what you're missing right here. And it doesn't really affect your detail. You can see I'm using the form soft brush, so it keeps all the detail, but I can still affect form. And just a little bit more of that. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. A little bit more down the center, and then bring this up. And maybe move this seventh vertebra. Let me see. Let me get this. We can move this back a little bit, give it a little bit more space for that seventh vertebra. And bring that back up. There we go. Just a little bit more space there. So whenever he, you know, puts his head back, he's not going to stab the back of his head every time. Let's see. This is okay. But again, right here, if you just feel this, there's not going to be a lot of wrinkling going on. Okay. So there's this muscle right here. If you grit your teeth, there's this muscle right here that comes from the corner of your zygomatic or your malar eminence. And you just put a line right here. Okay. And your wrinkles are never going to go past this line. Okay. So whenever we're doing that, and what I mean is this wrinkle is going to go all the way down here. This is fine. You know, this is fine, but you don't want to be carrying wrinkles over there. And I'm not saying you are. I'm just, you know, giving some helpful pointers to the academy. But if we had a little bit more solid bit right here and a little bit more characteristics of the zygomatic, then this is really going to stick out and be a little bit more believable, because all these things add up to believability. Like all these wrinkles, I believe, you know, like all that stuff, I definitely believe, but just a little bit more structure, a little bit more, and you can tell I'm only moving these things millimeters, right? So you're not far off at all. So boom, bring that all the way around. And then here we should probably have a temporal arch, or temporalis, excuse me. So if we just have a little bit of that there, we can definitely bring that together. So let's hit the eyes. So I would put in a deeper cavity in here. Because usually, well, I mean, it depends. You can find reference for both cases, but generally, whenever they're this old, the eyes lose a lot of their fat. That isn't to say that there won't be any, but this nasal fat right here, you can typically take it away, and it's going to provide you a little bit more depth in here, and the shadows, whenever you light this thing correctly, is going to be a whole lot more imposing. Alrighty, so boom, bring that up, smooth. And that's kind of messing up, but you get what I'm saying. And just a little bit more in here, a little bit more space, and I think it would really, really help. Okay, corner of the eye, you definitely want that going over. Definitely want the corner of the eye. The upper eyelid should go over the bottom eyelid 99% of the time. So boom, just carry that over. All right, slight little changes here and there, but you are on your way for sure. Let's see. Maybe bring that out, bring this out. Yeah, bring a little bit more lift off from the lip from the very center, and then it's just going to taper off. Maybe some muscle striations here in the mental eminence would be nice. And maybe add a little bit more roundness to the very top of the bottom lip. And bring this up and then bring it over. Okay. I think that's far enough. Yeah. Let's take a look. Let's see.
You're at 30 minutes.
Alrighty. Thank you very much. We'll go there. We'll go to what you had. Coffee time.
If anybody's got any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Okay, so there we go. All right, so obviously worked a little bit more on the ear, just that little Y in there and putting in the helix, anti-helix, really does kind of catch it up to everything else that's here, right? A little bit more space up in the eye, so it's not just everything, you just have more space and a little bit more to work with. A little bit more of the zygomatic here, a little bit more of the angle of the jaw, and then I was way more deliberate with my jowling here. A little bit more definition on the mental eminence, some alteration with the lips, and then added a little bit more of the temporalis in here, and then the temporal arch and temporalis, and all that stuff. So I hope that helped for you, give you a few ideas. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one. This is who is this? Are you still here? Whose is this? Speaketh your name. Let's see. I think I have one more. Oops, nope, not that one. Blew that thing like 5 times. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So let's take a look. Oh, my pleasure, Lucas. Thanks for submitting it. I appreciate you. Let me go through this chat. I was going to.
Looks like Lissa is the dragon, maybe. Michael Lesnar is Alyssa.
Oh, okay. I was like, where are you getting all this? All right, cool. Alyssa, all right, good job. So this is looking good. The craftsmanship is pretty good. It's very clean. And I like these little swirls that you have mixed in here. My problem with it, I mean, is this supposed to be ornamental or is this supposed to be an organic thing? Just like something that's on the table, or is this a character that's alive and all that stuff?
3D print.
Okay, so if you want to do it for that, then that's fine. Okay, so because generally it'd be a little bit more exciting for it to be in motion, and this looks like it's very still. So if you if that's your goal, then we can move on. Is to have it, you know, like imposed still and a little bit more ornamental instead of just you know, like a character with a backstory and all this stuff, right? So what I would do is just push things here and there. Let's see, let's go here. Okay, cool. You have things separated. Okay, so let's talk about this shoulder. I know it is a dragon, but you're also, there's a lot of things in here that are human based. And so if we really want to complete the illusion, we should carry that over. Okay. So with your bicep, it's a little weird because it's like 2 parts and then it's split 2 parts and then it's okay down here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is get my clay buildup. And what we need to do is we need to have 3 heads to this shoulder. Okay. You only have 2. So we need to bring that over, bring this down. Okay, and smooth that out. I'm going to use Smooth Stronger. If you don't know where that is, that's under Brush. Smooth Stronger. And if you're using Dynamesh and stuff, this is a really good, or high res Dynamesh, then this is really good to use because it you don't have to smooth it so much. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a bicep right down the center right here. Okay. So, you know, if we look at our arm, bicep goes down and then it goes into the pit of our wrist, right? So it goes down and then goes into the pit of our wrist. And of course, okay. or it goes down into, yeah, the pit right here, and it attaches to our radius. So if you flip your hand back and forth and you put your hand right here, there's a little radius that we have that allows us to flip our radius over. Now, if you put your finger right here and drag it all the way down to your elbow or olecranon, that bone does not move or rotate. So you can literally put your finger here and you can rotate this over and it's not moving. All right. What is moving is this wrist. Okay, or this radius, excuse me. This is flopping back and forth. Okay, so your bicep is connected to your radius. So whenever I curl my hand, then the bicep is going to get shorter. If I pronate, then the bicep's going to get longer. Okay, because we're rotating this radius over and it's pulling on this tendon that we have at the end of our bicep. So whenever we supinate or we have our bowl of soup, you know, supinate, pronate, supinate, pronate. Okay. So when we have our arms supinated, that allows that tendon to kind of relax and your bicep appears shorter. And when pronate, it appears longer. Okay. So on this case, what we're going to do, because it is supinated, is we're going to make sure that this bicep is nice and short and bulky. Okay. So that's going to be a little bit more here. And then we're going to dive down into the wrist. Okay. Boom. We're going to put a little cavity in here. Boom, 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 right there. And then we're going to bring this brachialis over. So what this is halfway down the arm, the deltoid's going to end, right? And I'm just going to crochet this for you real quick. All right, and then we're going to have the brachialis begin soon as our deltoid ends, okay? And it's going to come around and it's going to appear something like that. And it's going to be the same on the other side, all right? So what we need to do is go halfway down the humerus, somewhere around here, and then bring this down over, okay? And you can consider this kind of like a pillow that sits underneath the bicep and makes it look puffier, okay? So boom, 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 okay? Next, what we need to do a little bit more of the tricep. You do have it kind of blocked out, but you can see there's an edge right here and then it's flat. What we need to do is kind of round this out. There should be a little egg on the side of this, and then that egg ends in a tail that goes towards our olecranon. So it should go over here. And I know you have a really, really great scale work here, but I'm just going to ruin that. Okay. But here, and we just want to smooth out those bumps, right? We don't want muscles all wavy. Okay, that's not what we're looking for. And so we just need to caress it over into here. Okay. Next, we need the brachial radialis. Okay, so this is from the brachii, which is your humerus or your arm bone. Okay, and brachial radialis, meaning going down and attaching to the radius. Okay, so we need a little bit more bulk here. And then it's going to go right there. And then we can have a little bit more form to this. Is going to come down. So you see how the brachialis and then the tricep and in between there, that's where we're going to bring the brachial radialis from, right? So it's going to come around and go there. Okay. And this is all going to be sketched in. I'm not going to be able to finish much of anything in this stream. But if you take a look at my work, hopefully you can believe that I can take it all the way. All right, so a little bit more here. A little bit more there. And now the problem is that the muscles kind of shifted over here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get this move brush, kind of bring everything together. Because you can see your bones going this way and then that way. Well, at least it appears like that after I've sculpted on it. I don't know if it was that way originally. So you can blame it on me. So boom, boom. And then what you're missing on each side of this wrist. So if we look at our wrist right here, there's this little bone right here. This is called your styloid process of the ulna. And if you just drag your finger along that bone, it's going to go all the way to your elbow or your olecranon. Okay. So we need this. This is called the ulna furrow right here. And that's kind of what we need to address. So on the outside of the wrist or the lateral side of the wrist, we're going to get our form soft, and we're going to have a little bump right here, right there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag that straight to the elbow, straight to the elbow, straight to the elbow, straight to the elbow. Okay. And then if you take the class, we'll go over all your flexors and your extensors and where they come from, where they go to, what they look like, and all that stuff. But hopefully this is a little bit more, brings a little bit more. Look how much more believable that arm is. All right, as opposed to the one over here where it has a bunch of different shapes going on. Okay. So that's what you're kind of missing in here. Like your kneecap is not there. Your fingers are very round and very nondescript, right? They should probably be like your pinky's longer than everything else, right? So we need to kind of harmonize this. It should be like a triangle here, like that type of thing in terms of lengths, like we have right here, middle finger and then the ring and pointer finger or index finger. So yeah, take a look at that. But your work is nice and clean. And that's, for a lot of people, it's really hard to do. And so you're showing a lot of good restraint in terms of not having a lot of waviness. Everything's very deliberate, very clean. But you just need a little bit more direction on where you're putting your lines and where they're coming from and where they're going to. I think, I think this class would probably really, really, really help you. And this one, a little bit more curve. And this, you see how straight it is? So we get this move brush, just a little bit more curve. Just push it a little bit more to the edge. So things aren't straight, right? And this type of thing, I would make sure it's either really over the head or very below the head, because this is competing now, right? You pretty much, if anything's subtle, it might as well be lined up with it. So this is subtly lined up with the eye, that it might as well just be lined up with it. So you need to decide if this thing's going to be super long or it's going to be shorter, and make sure it doesn't line up with anything else, because you can see it's lining up with the hands and the eyes. And so now it's looking crowded, right? So we need to adjust this tail, maybe bring it back over here, and then kind of use this to point at the head, right? So bring this tail over here and then come up and then have it coming back towards the head or something like that. All this flow is really nice. All this hair, the fact that you took care and didn't just like sculpt on it. You had each piece, and each piece looks very individualized, is really, really nice. The swirls that you have are looking good. I like where they're placed. Let's see. And again, maybe with this hair, be a little bit more, you can see, whoops, was this about to crash? You can see all the hair subtly lining up. So it'd be good to have some that are a little bit more brought out than the others. So I'm going to use move topological and just accentuate this a little bit more, because it's kind of tame, right? We have this big majestic dragon, and I think it would be a little bit more impressive if things were, especially around the head, if they were a little bit more imposing, a little bit bigger, a little bit like bring this all the way out. Right here, bring this all the way out. We're gonna have a lot of stretching going on. Don't worry about the ears, but something a little bit more like either a triangle or a rhombus or some overall, because everything's so nice and compact, like let it out, let everything out. Okay. Did you have anything else? Anything else, Alyssa? No problem. No problem.
All right, we're at 45 minutes.
All righty. Evie. Indy Gale. Are you here? Indy Gale. Yay! All right. So, I really like this one. I'm gonna go fill material. This is just the way I like to look at things. But yeah, this is really good. We know she's sweet. We know she's kind of coy, flirty. Like a classic pinup girl. I really like this. So let's talk about the subtleties that we can bring in here. So I'm gonna turn off all paint information so we can kind of look at this. Usually I don't put, like, I have color information on there, but I hardly ever have it on there while I'm working. Because the flat material needs to look really, really good, and then color adds to it. It doesn't hide things, right? And I'm not saying you're hiding anything, but I'm just telling you why I'm turning off information, okay? Or turning off color. All right, so the thing is right here, okay? So if we have the malar eminence I was talking about earlier, it would probably be right around here, but we're all the way forward. Oops, wrong brush. But we're all the way forward. So I would like a little bit more subtlety in bringing this around. Right, a little bit more here. You also have this dip that's going in right here, and this is your master, right? So it's attached all the way to the length of your zygomatic, and as soon as it turns the corner to the front of your face, it's called the malar eminence, right? And if you just draw a diagonal angle down to the corner of your jaw right here, and especially if you flex, grit your teeth, you're gonna feel that muscle, okay? And that muscle never goes in. It's always a form that brings form out, okay? So right now what you have is, I'm just gonna over accentuate it, but right now this is what you have right here, okay? So what I would do is kind of level this out a little bit, so there's really no dip in there, okay? And there we go, right? So before and a little bit after, a little bit cleaner, right? And that's what we're going for. The next thing is that your jaw is going behind your ear, okay? It never does that, right? So what I want you to do is put your fingers right next to your ear holes, right, on the outside, and I want you to open your mouth and then close your mouth. And you're gonna feel this little space in here, okay? Now I want you to drag your fingers down, and you can see that your jaw does not go behind your ear. It's in front of your ear, okay? So what we need to do is we need to bring this down and lock that out. Look how much better that looks already. Okay? Smooth that out. It's a little bit more deliberate, a little bit more. Look at that. Okay? All right, so next, what I would like to see, I'm just gonna work on one side of the face. A little bit more. See, do you have lower subdivision? Yes. Okay. So what we're going to do is get the Damien standard, and we're going to subtly, because we don't want to age her, but we just want a little bit more of an orbit surrounding the eye. And the orbit is the bony part that surrounds your eye, okay? If you take the class, we literally spend I don't know how many videos we spend just making sure you understand what's happening with the face. Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
And then after that, we're just going to smooth it out. Right here, smooth it out. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. And there we go. And now we have a little bit more of an orbit in there. Okay. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that this muscle right here that you're sculpting is acting believably. Okay. So we just have a big bump right here, and I know you're trying to get that smirk. And so what we need to do, smooth that out a little bit. And most of it's going to be on the edge right here. Okay. And then whenever we smirk, if anything, muscles going over, it's bunching, it's getting dug in, and then we're having skin fold over. Okay. So what you're doing is you're pushing everything back, and then we have this big lump here. Okay. So what I would do is bring this over, bring that over. Oops. Smooth that out. And then I'm just going to get this, bring this over, and make sure that's going all the way to the corner. Okay. And then we're going to bring that over just a little bit, and then bring it down and around the chin. Okay. And then you just got to smooth it out so she doesn't look aged or anything. Okay. Next thing, what we need to do is we need to kind of even this out a little bit more, smooth it out, a little bit more of the chin. And it is coming to a point. So I would smooth that out too, just so it's not so harsh. Okay. Bring this back a little bit more. And then dig around the nose. And then bring that, just hint at it. We don't have to completely sculpt the entire line, but just hint at that. This nasalis going over. Then dig in right here. Bring that in. Smooth it out. Okay. Your nose is looking pretty good. What would really help sell it is if you had this this edge right here for the nasal, for the alar cartilage. Just have this little flat bit right here. And whenever we go up, it's going to catch some light whenever we get in there. Okay. Going around, going around, going around, making sure and smooth it out, make sure it's nice and clean. Smooth that out so it's not so bumpy. There, smooth it out. Let's look at it. Make sure. And just going to subtly smooth things over. Smooth it out. Okay. So let's bring back the color. There we go. So these are subtle things that we're doing. Just move that. I don't know why that suddenly appeared. There's just some topology there. That's just not going to work with me. All right. So let's start with that. Shift S, bring this over, and let's see what you came in with. Hopefully mine looks a little bit better, please. Please make it look a little better. All right, there we go. Okay. So a little bit more. It's not a lot, but just that little bit of the orbit is going to allow that shadow and then the highlight to begin. Because all you have is a highlight right here, and it's very triangular. It's actually like up here, I get it, but then it drops down and then comes back up, and I'm just talking about the highlight. But now mine's nice and a little bit more centered, and then we have the zygomatic coming in. Okay, so you have a big deep depression and then this muscle coming over, and what I did is I had the muscle coming over and then the lip coming from there. And let's see, and kind of you have this lump here, and I kind of made it a little bit more of the malar fat with the nasal labial going over, and then your chin has a super hard edge, and so I just brought it a little bit closer, and then made the jawline go in front of the ear instead of behind it. But yeah, that's what I did. Any questions? Anything else? Any? Oh, awesome. Great. Alrighty, so we have some homages that were also sent in. Let me get to those. Okay, so not sure, Vishal or Vishal, not sure, not very good at it. So this is a line ring that you sent me. The print quality is really not the best. We can see every single line, every build line. There's a lot of lumpiness. It might just be your printer and maybe not your sculpt. So I can't really see your sculpt anywhere here. It would be nice to see your ZBrush, ZTL or screen grab, and we could have talked about that. But yeah, this is, who's this one? Rhiannon, something like that. All right. So this one is the fingers are very, very thin. They're very sharp. They don't really have any bone structure to it. And then right here, the Velociraptor things, it's just very confusing. There's really not a lot of support here. You have very bendy type legs here, and it's very wavy. So there's not a lot of solid bone structure that people can believe in. The legs are very subtly bent in that I forgot what the term is called, but for the Velociraptors, they have those 3 hits. Yours are so subtle that it just looks like a regular leg. So I would choose between a regular leg and was it bifurcated or something? I'm not sure what it is. Again, the tail is very flat and wavy. I would just start with a cylinder and then leave it as a cylinder. Maybe increase the size of it, but I wouldn't really go in and start sculpting anything. The face, very subtle. Like pretty much this entire side of the face is one plane, and it needs to be a little bit more complicated, a little bit more of the orbit. Dig that in a bit more, way more of the mandible and the angle of the jaw. Especially for something that has a snout like this. And then a little bit more deliberateness in the neck muscles as well. The clothing is very lumpy. There's no seams on it. And yeah, you just need to take it a little bit further. That's it. Yeah. Other than that, let me see, do I have one more? I think I got one more. Yes. Okay. So we also have Leon Zitsu. You want me to look over his portfolio? Let's see. What can we talk about? Let's talk about your latest one. All right, Sexy Plant Girls. So yeah, so this stuff is huge in the community. This type of sexy art type thing. I would reduce the size of the base. I would take all this away and just have them sitting on the pedal, and then the base. So it'd just be the flower pedal, and that's it, and then just the base. And that way, there's just a lot of print time, a lot of material time, a lot of space that isn't being used, and it would just take all that away. Because whenever I'm looking at this, I do pay attention, but I look at all this negative space as much, and you really want to just keep the focus up here, right? The lighting is really, the materials are really bad. Like right here, like if you want it to look like plastic, this does not look like plastic. This looks like really, really, really shiny plastic. So I think this is in key shot. So what I would do is get a little bit more matte on this. Like think about, what were those little toys that Disney was making for a long time and then they stopped? Disney Infinity, is that what it is? Yeah. So Disney Infinity, think about, look at them and then look at their plastic material. It's way more subtle. The specularity isn't so high, or the shininess isn't so high. So I would look at that, especially if you're trying to sell it as a toy or a model or something like that. Then you kind of want to use that same material. So
It almost looks like ceramic.
yeah. Looks like what's it called? Ceramic that's been glazed. Is what this looks like. And I don't know, it's just a little bit too speculative for me. The lights are just showing absolutely everything, instead of creating a mood. So yeah, we'll go back with that. Your Cowboy Bebop's looking good. Just a little bit more refinement, maybe having this as separate pieces instead of all one piece would be nice. But yeah, thanks, Leon. Thanks for sending it on over. I think that's all we have. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah. What?
So you want to tell them a little bit about your amazing course that's coming up very soon?
Yeah. How much longer do we have? Like 2 more days? 3 more days?
It closes Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time.
Linz, the nun model. Where is the nun model? I don't see the nun model. How much time?
You talk about your class. I'll see if I can find it.
Okay. Oh, let's look at this Batman Who Laughs. Yeah, again, your lighting's off. You're showing us everything, and it's not creating a mood. Like this looks like the Batman Who Laughs during the daylight. And again, your materials are really, really off. So I would look at a little bit more matte on this type of thing instead of so glossy, and then create more mood and with your lighting instead of showing us everything. Because usually what you do is you have one light at a 45-degree angle shining down on the top of their forehead, and then you have 2 rim lights. And that way you can create a whole lot more mood, because we don't need to see absolutely everything that's here. If we see one, we can pretty much gather all the information from the other, right? So if there's an arm here, we get it. It's an arm. We don't need to see absolutely everything.
The nun model was the one that didn't exist anymore.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you sent that link, and it said that the link doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. So we weren't able to.
Says the file isn't here anymore.
Yeah. So I guess it got moved, or is an old link from somewhere else. But yeah, that's what I would do for you, brother. In terms of what this course is, let me get that up. XMD Academy. So what I'm doing this time is a little bit more one-on-one. We used to have a class atmosphere, but I think having a one-on-one is a little bit more effective. So it's a little bit more of a mentorship than it is a workshop. But if you go to it, there's like over 100 videos. There's a bunch of free previews over here. But at the end of the 6 weeks, we'll have 1 hour a week that we meet. And in 6 weeks, we'll have a collectible that's sculpted. All the proportions are good. The movement's good. The drama's good. The consequence is good. The base, the characters, the lighting, the rendering, the output is all geared and engineered for you to have something sellable at the end of it. And I've been teaching professionally on a collegiate level for the last 6 years. I've repeatedly taken students with 0 knowledge of art, 0 knowledge of sculpting, 0 knowledge of color theory, composition, you name it. And I've taken those students from 0 to a collectible that is pretty damn good for their very first sculpt, right? Their very first project. And I take them all the way. And so if you have any knowledge of Zbrush, we're skipping weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of time, right? So if you're struggling with anatomy, if you're struggling with making your work look interesting, if you're struggling with lighting, if you're struggling with proportions and bony landmarks and all that stuff, this course is 100% what you need. This is the course that, if you're a beginner, is going to open up a world you've never, ever even known about, and all these strategies and workflows that you probably never even known. Intermediates, unless you've studied anatomy longer than me, you will learn a whole lot of anatomy. You will learn how to sculpt it quickly. You will learn the origination and insertion. So you're not looking at reference all the time. Like I sculpted that dragon arm with 0 reference because anatomy is the same thing over and over and over again. So as soon as you memorize it, you're able to replicate it over and over and over again without any reference, without anything else that you would need. And you'll be able to sketch out your characters in one sitting as opposed to weeks or days. And if you're a beginner, you might not even fully get it sketched out. So this course is ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. We go over your face. We go over, we get you a rig with male and female that you can use in Maya, that you can use to pose. We go over male anatomy, female anatomy, body anatomy. We go over ZBrush modeling, Marvelous Designer, importing and exporting it, getting details out of Substance Painter, Keyshot for rendering. I give you HDRIs. I give you the materials. I give you a very in-depth lecture. And then strategies, which we're going to be opening, changing. And then all the live sessions from all the previous semesters that we've done. And in total, I mean, it's over 100 videos. We've had top row artists, Nina Hofka, go through this class. We've had Andres, Amir, Dan. He's been in the business 15 plus years and still learned a lot. I've got plenty of people. And then you can go to my ArtStation. Every single tutorial and product I have is 5-star. I'm not joking around. I fucking kick ass at this shit. So take the class, level your ass up, and get serious about it, right? Don't you want a bunch of money? Don't you want to be living lavishly? Don't you want a Bentley? I don't know how you're going to do that, but I'm going to teach you how to sculpt. All right? So get your ass and register for the course. I guarantee you, I'm not looking anywhere else. I'm not blinking. I will level you up. Join the course. I will level you up.
I just wanted to expound upon what you're talking about, the live session recordings. Every live session that we have, we record. We throw them into the archive, and you get over 81 hours just of live sessions from previous. So that's 81 hours extra. You have over 7 hours of extra 65 bonus content. There's over 20 hours of lectures in the original part of the course. So yeah, so much information. You're definitely going to learn some stuff.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Does anybody have any other questions in here? ArtStation. Let me give you my ArtStation.
And also, just for coming to this, we're going to send you a coupon in your email. So look out for that.
Mm-hmm. If you don't have Maya, you can get it as a student version for free. You just go to their site, say you're at XMD Academy, that you're a student. They'll give you the current version for free for 3 years. You just go type in Maya Educational License, and you're good.
You sent your ArtStation to me.
Yeah, you can get the entire Autodesk. Oh, I sent it just to you. Okay, sorry. You can get the entire Autodesk library as a student for free. Every program that we use is either free or a free trial, because I'm not going to use a program that you need to spend $1,000 to use and understand. I'm going to use programs that we all have access to. Mm-hmm. And then Blender rendering is coming soon. And then, yeah, I'm going to do a deep dive in Blender so that we can take our characters out of ZBrush and make them look even better, and then render them and make them look even better. So lots of good things are coming to this. I didn't just make this and leave it. I've continuously been adding to it and revising it and learning new things and sharing them with the Academy. Mm-hmm. My pleasure, Minnow. My pleasure.
Has anybody got any questions before we wrap it up?
righty. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you, Mark. Hopefully we can see you in the class and level you up. Thanks, Lintz. I'm very, very happy that you were here. Thanks for submitting your work. Mikey's Machine, thank you. Karen, make sure you're there on Saturday, Karen. Make sure you're there. Don't miss out. All right, all good here. Angry Monday, you're welcome. Yeah, anytime, Michael, anytime. Or Alyssa. Alyssa. Yeah, anytime. Just hit me up. Okay. Josh, thank you so much. I thank you for all the support you give me on all platforms. I really, really appreciate it, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Oh, Matt, my pleasure. Talk to you on. Oh, hell yeah. Matt signed up. Yeah, let me talk to you all about what happens whenever you sign up for the course. Matt and I had a nice chat yesterday. Basically what I'm gonna do is we're gonna have a one-on-one interview. We're gonna talk about what you're looking for, we're gonna talk about the expectations of the class, what we expect you to have done at the end of the class, your expectations of the class, where you're strongest, where you're weakest, and where and anything else in terms of like artistic struggles or successes or strategies that you want to put together. We talk about all that. So thanks, Matt. Thanks for that. Settles, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. So yeah. So hopefully, this mentorship, I guess we should call it a mentorship, but we'll just call it a workshop so the name's consistent. But yeah, it's one-on-one. It's not a class setting. So your homework's personalized, your advice is personalized. There's plenty of modules that you can watch. Literally, it'll probably take you a year to get through all that information. So all instruction, all homework, all videos are directed towards you personally as a student. So I hope y'all take advantage of this, because I wish I had this whenever I was coming up. But yeah, thank you all for being here. If you want to reach out, just go to Shotgun Scream at ArtStation. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. Thursday or tonight, I'm going to be streaming shotgunscream.com. Be going over a critique. And then we're going to be working on Shazam versus Superman. We're going to be hanging out with a bunch of ZBHO legends, just veterans of the industry as well. We're just going to be hanging out. Saturday, we're going to be announcing the winner of the XMD scholarship. And that's going to be on Saturday before UFC. So, yeah. All right. Anything you want to say, Mike, before we cut it?
I hope I really see each and every one of you in the class. You definitely will not regret it. As it is, I've seen the class run 3 times now. It's our 4th time running it. And even I'm not a character artist, but I definitely learn stuff every time I watch it. Yeah, so look out in your email. Each one of you will be getting a pretty substantial coupon for coming here. And yeah, so hope to see you there.
Yep. We know times are tough. We're trying to help all of you out as much as possible. So hope you take care of that. And if you're interested in seeing more of these, send us an email. Let us know you want to see more webinars, stuff like this. And we're here to help you out. So you let us know what you need, and we'll figure out how to get it to you.
And yes, this will be available as a recording. You'll get a reminder as that as well, and a link to the replay.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for coming.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.